Welcome to On Air with Amber Wynn, where nonprofit leaders learn to fuse passion and commitment with proven business strategies to create long-term funding, impact, and sustainability. And now, here's your host and resident philanthrepreneur, Amber Wynn.
Good morning, fam. It's your girl back on the scene. And today I'm so excited. Let me tell you, I always get excited when I talk about money. It's just my thing. You know, when you have money, you have choices. And today our topic is about unrestricted funds. We talked about that last episode, right? The formula for success, 60% restricted funds, 40% unrestricted funds. Today I'm going to talk to you about the American Recovery Act Employee Retention Credit. ERC, Employee Retention Credit. Now, this is an opportunity for nonprofits to get some of that American Recovery Act money. Now, I'm going to spend just a little bit of time talking to you about, pulling your head up out of the weeds and looking for opportunities to fund your nonprofit. A lot of times as nonprofit leaders, we're so busy with running the organization and running the programs and trying to get volunteers coordinated and, collaborating that we're not putting enough energy into securing additional resources. It's in that space of constantly looking for opportunities to generate revenue that we create long-term sustainability. I have an episode coming up where I talk about leaning into active leadership, and I'll spend more time with you. But for this episode, we're going to talk to how you can, as a nonprofit, even if you have or have not qualified for the PPP, how you can access this unrestricted funds that nonprofits under $1 million can qualify for. You can get up to $26,000 per nonprofit. I'm just saying. When we come back, we're going to talk about unrestricted funds and the ERC.
You're a school, a foundation, a healthcare provider, or an environmental group, a museum, a church, a shelter, or a community service. You're starting a nonprofit on a startup budget, and you need to get this right the first time. No mistakes, no misunderstandings, and no costly do-overs. At Nonprofit Elite, we know what you need because we've been there too. Accurate information, mistake-free filings, and peace of mind assurance that your 501c3 application will be successful. This is what we do, and we are very good at it, all backed by our industry-leading guarantee and 100% IRS approval rate. But forming your nonprofit and obtaining tax-exempt status is just the beginning. Once you're up and running, Nonprofit Elite will consolidate the bulk of your operations into one place, including your accounting, compliance, website, fundraising, and more. We do the work of several full-time staff for just a fraction of the cost, so that you can remain focused on advancing your mission. Contact Nonprofit Elite for expert preparation of your formation documents and 501c3 application, and for a full range of accounting, fundraising, and administrative solutions.
Welcome back to On Air with Amber Wynn, your resident philanthrepreneur and all things nonprofit. I am so excited to have you with me today because today we're going to talk about money, honey, unrestricted funds. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'm all out in this space trying to do this podcasting thing and grow my audience. So if you're finding this information helpful, please subscribe and share with with anyone in your network. Because today in particular, we are going to talk about the American Recovery Act Employee Retention Credit. Now, this money is being gobbled up by small businesses. So I have been just sharing this in as many spaces with as many partners as I can. And that's why I'm on air sharing with you, fam, about the ERC. Does your organization qualify for the ERC? Let's start here. During the pandemic, as you know, a lot of organizations, a lot of companies, everybody shut down. And so the government created this pot of money for small businesses and nonprofits to basically reward you for keeping your staff on board. So if through March 13th, 2020 to December 31st, 2021, you kept on your W-2 employees, you may qualify for up to $26,000 per employee in a tax credit. What does that mean? That means that they're going to amend your 990s, what you submit, and not your 990s, I'm sorry. They're going to amend your payroll. This is a payroll credit. This has nothing to do with how you're formed. So if you are fiscally sponsored, it doesn't matter if you run your own payroll. If you have part-time, you may still qualify as long as they are W-2. If they're 1099, you won't qualify. This is a payroll tax reimbursement. So you may qualify up to $26,000 per employee if you kept your employees on from March 13th, 2020 through December 2021. I'm just saying. Why am I on here talking to you about this? Because as nonprofits, we need to consistently generate revenue. And this is an opportunity, and I don't say this too often, to get some easy money, right? Because there is no easy money. But in this instance, you've already done the work. If you've done your payroll and you kept your employees on for this period of time, all you have to do is to submit the paperwork. Now, I'm going to tell you now, people get stuck. They get stuck because you got to go and you got to get this documentation from your payroll. If you have payroll, for example, ADP, guess what? I'm going to put the link in my bio so you can click on this link. First off, I'm not going to have you waste your time. You click this link and you do this survey, and it's going to let you know automatically whether or not you qualify. Bam. Second thing, if you do qualify, they're going to give you an estimate of how much you qualify for. Okay. Second thing, if you qualify, then they're going to show you all of the documents you need to prepare to bring to upload. If ADP is your provider, guess what they have? There's a link where they connect it and it automatically downloads the documents that you need. Like, you can't get any easier than that. And I'm saying that because y'all know I'm technology challenged. And so I try and seamlessly, manage technology. So if you haven't already, check to see if your nonprofit qualifies. I've had a couple of clients. One, she ran 3 transition homes. She got $164,000 back. She had 21 employees. Another one was a church. They got back $64,000. And my last one, I think she got $14,000. So it runs the gamut, and it really depends on how many employees you have. But I am here to say you need to take advantage of this while it exists. There are small businesses. I didn't qualify because you have to have more than one employee, and my business is a solopreneur, doesn't qualify. But there's this money out here, and as a nonprofit, you qualify for it. A lot of times when Congress is passing all of these laws, they'll say, oh, it's for this business. Very few times do they say that, it's a nonprofit. And that's why I was excited. I'm like, oh, I've got to let my family know about this. Guess what? You qualify. Here's the thing. If you've qualified for and secured the PPP or the EIDL, guess what? Doesn't matter. This has nothing to do with that money. If you did not qualify for a PPP or EIDL, guess what? Doesn't matter. Has nothing to do with that. This money is solely based off of whether or not you have W-2 employees and whether or not you were impacted during the pandemic. So this is something that is very meaningful to me. I've had so many nonprofits not qualify. Why? Because they're trying so hard to function as volunteer-led. Oh, we're volunteer. And now you don't qualify. Here's the other thing. Your documentation isn't in order. So when I talk to you guys, this is what I'm saying. If you are ready, you don't have to get ready. if you were already with the payroll system and, everything is being documented, all you have to do is submit your paperwork. So this is where we come back to being able to access resources, right? Getting your house in order. That's my main thing I say to my folks. You got to get your house in order, because when these opportunities present themselves, you can avail yourself of them. So I want you to click the link in my bio, check and see, take the survey. If you've had 1099, if you have 1099 employees, you don't qualify. If you are fiscally sponsored and you run your own payroll, click the link, you still may qualify. If you are a church, if you are a nonprofit with W-2 employees, click the link. It can't hurt. I've had people say, oh my gosh, I qualify. Yes, you do. So I'm here to bring you resources and to try and help you create a sustainable nonprofit. All right. So one more time, the American Recovery Act, Employee Retention Credit. And here's the thing. You can go on the IRS website and look it up, right? There are so many scammers out there. You got to be careful. But this is real. It's actually something that's passed by Congress, and it's something that if you had W-2 employees, you may qualify for. So go check it out. I'm going to put the link in the bio. See if you qualify. Fingers crossed. Hopefully you've got some money that's coming back to you. All right. So when we get back, we have a question from Mia out of Bakersfield for the Ask Amber session when we come back.
Starting a new career in a new sector with unfamiliar job titles and new jargon can lead to frustration and burnout. What if you had an easy way to get up to speed, to learn the key elements of successful nonprofits and the critical steps we should all take to maximize our impact? Introducing the Nonprofit Essentials Certificate, 3 short, interactive courses that cover 3 critical areas. What makes a nonprofit, how nonprofits raise money, and skills needed to build a thriving career in the nonprofit sector. Interactive exercises and actionable advice from nonprofit experts help bring clarity to key concepts, and the end of the course exam tests your knowledge so you can earn a certificate and badge, and then quickly put your new knowledge into practice. The best part? The Nonprofit Essentials Certificate is 100% free. Thousands of learners have already earned their certificate, making this our most popular set of courses in Nonprofit Ready. Register at nonprofitready.org and get ready to accelerate your impact and your career.
Welcome back. You're on air with Amber Wynn, and now it is time for Ask Amber. This is when you have the opportunity to ask me your pressing questions, something for clarification, whatever you want. Right now, we're going to hear from a caller from Bakersfield.
Hi, Amber. This is Mia calling from Bakersfield. My question is about filing the 990 form. Do I need a CPA to file, or can my bookkeeper do it? Or can I file it myself? Thanks.
Hey, Mia, thank you for that question. It's a good question. A lot of times as nonprofit leaders, we try and do things on our own. This is one of those things that you can't. Because the 990 form is a financial form. It is a form that is being submitted to the IRS to determine whether or not you are functioning as a tax-exempt organization. So it's important that those documents are filed correctly. And a person who is licensed to authenticate your financial statements needs to submit it. So yes, that would be a CPA. So be sure that you find someone who has nonprofit experience. I always recommend that you find a colleague who has filed at least 2 990s and they're comfortable with their CPA. And so thank you for that question. If any of you have questions like that, or any question about nonprofits, you can always hit me up on my social media. That's what I'm here for. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can even email me at amber@amberwynn.net. So now we're going to move on to my most favorite time of the episode, where I get to put a spotlight on you, the most amazing individuals on the planet, my nonprofits. It's called Nonprofit Spotlight. In this episode, we are going to put a spotlight on the Alliance for Aging Research. The Alliance for Aging Research is the leading nonprofit organization dedicated to accelerating the pace of scientific discoveries and their application to vastly improve the universal human experience of aging and health. Let's take a look.
My grandmother on my father's side died of Alzheimer's. My father died of Alzheimer's. 6 of his siblings died of Alzheimer's. And that young man there is not going to die of Alzheimer's.
I am desperate for this treatment.
We have been waiting for a disease-modifying drug forever.
I ask you to start walking a day, a week, a month in my shoes.
Yes, it works. But no, you can't have it. Are we not worthy? Have we not suffered enough?
Why would we deny anyone to be treated for it? When I had cancer, they treated me for cancer. So if they treated me for cancer, they should treat us for Alzheimer's.
When our government has an opportunity to actually stand up and truly advocate for those who are most in need, it is putting the value of the almighty dollar above the value of the lives of our loved ones.
I need something that slows the progression down. I don't want something just to address the symptoms. And we deserve an opportunity to receive this treatment.
This decision will delay and set back the exciting drugs that are in the pipeline and now will not reach the people who need them most.
This drug is being tainted by Medicare, is being excessively unsafe. The FDA ruled.
CMS has taken an unprecedented step to require an additional clinical trial for a treatment already approved by the FDA.
This decision is going to push us way past 2025.
Because I have Down syndrome, I am virtually certain to develop Alzheimer's if I live long enough.
It's about time we do not have.
We are entitled to have the medication. If the doctor authorizes it, then we have that right.
The battle lines have been drawn.
Let your voice be heard. Speak out against tyranny and injustice. Speak up for individuals who for too long have been denied the hope of a better life.
Secretary Becerra, I hope you're listening. We need your leadership, Secretary Becerra.
If nothing is done to fight this terrible disease and treatment options are not given to the masses, then all we will have is silence and the loss of a loved one.
So if you want to support Alliance for Aging Research with a donation, with advocacy, reach out to them at www.agingresearch.org. That's www.agingresearch.org. Yes. You know, I'm always going to be here putting a spotlight on my nonprofits because you guys are doing amazing work. Without the work of the nonprofit in our country, in this world, there would be so many gaps. There would be so many people not being provided services. And so, I don't know. Has anyone thanked you today? Because if they haven't, let me be the one to do it. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you so much. All right. Now, as we start to wind down, we're going to move to the Mindset Minute. And that's when I share with you a little bit about what's stirring up in this mind. My mama said that's a dangerous place to go, but sometimes it's not that bad. Today, we're going to talk about understanding who you are as a nonprofit, because sometimes as nonprofit leaders, we kind of cross the line, and that crossing of that line could get you into trouble. I was meeting with the client last week who we're putting together some marketing materials, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to have, this elected official, we're going to support them. And I'm like, oh, careful. You cannot lobby. And they're like, oh, we're not lobbying. We're just getting behind this person because they support. That's lobbying. That's choosing a side. As a tax-exempt organization, you can't lobby. You can't get behind a candidate. Now, what you can do is you can invite the candidates there, let them, both sides, let them speak on what their position is. Talk to your audience about what's at stake. Talk to your audience about the importance of voting. But you, as a nonprofit, as a tax-exempt nonprofit, are legally not able to lobby. Now, let me state, there are nonprofits that are allowed to lobby. You're not tax-exempt, but you're allowed to lobby. So understanding who you are as a nonprofit, what that tax exemption allows you to do and prevents you from doing is really important. If you're lobbying, if you're getting behind a candidate, you can get your tax exempt status revoked because you're a public charity. And as a public charity, your resources, your outreach, they're supposed to be for everyone. And if you get behind a candidate, then essentially you're saying, I am for this specific person, or I am for this specific party. And that's not what you have been authorized to do as a 501c3. So be very careful. Understand who you are based off of the tax exempt status that you have been given. Listen, there are over 23 exempt statuses that you can qualify for as a nonprofit. 23. The most popular is the 501c3 because then that allows you to be exempt from federal taxes, and that allows your donors to get tax write-off. That's the most popular, but it's not the only one. And if you truly know that you want to be about public policy, if you know that, at the core of your existence, what you want to do is to lobby and to get the voice of the people out there. And I'm talking about like, we choose this person, you need to choose this person because X, Y, and Z, then it's not a 501c3 that you want to be. And you can get your tax exempt status revoked. So understand who you are and follow the rules as the IRS has established them. Okay? Just wanted to throw that out there. All right. So today we have talked about unrestricted funds, sort of in addition to our last episode where we talked about the funding formula for success. The American Recovery Act has an incentive out there that you as a nonprofit can qualify for. It's called the Employee Retention Credit. So check my bio, check the link, see if you qualify. And then join me again next week. But before we leave, I'm going to ask you to hit subscribe, like, share the episode. This one in particular, because if you know a nonprofit out there that has W-2 employees, this may get them through over the hump. Now, the IRS is backed up. I'm not going to lie. They're backed up about 6 months. So this is not going to be a fast process. But when we talk about long-term sustainability, once you apply and you are approved, you know that the money is coming, and then you can bank on that, and then you can plan for that because you know how much you're going to get. You pretty much know it's going to happen in like 6 months, and then that's a gap that's filled. So don't forget, check the link, see if you qualify, and get you some of that unrestricted funds. All right, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Head over to www.amberwynn.net/podcast for the links and resources mentioned in today's podcast. See you next time.